Hi, I'm Annika Johnson from Al Johnson's in Sister Bay. I hope you enjoy my new video series called Door County Girl. These are stories of my life, the people and places that I love, and of course how we all survive here in northern Wisconsin. You can come back as often as you like, but don't forget to subscribe to Al's YouTube channel. I'll be posting lots of really cool new videos. So let's go! Welcome to another episode of Door County Girl, and today we're in Sister Bay, and when it's dead in Sister Bay, we try to get some super busy people like myself, getting together with some other super busy people. So this is Penny Anschutz and Paula Anschutz, and they own the Sister Bay Bowl. We're neighbors right up the street, and there's a lot of history in between our family and your family. Al and Earl were great friends. Al started Al Johnson's and Earl started the Sister Bay Bowl. And my favorite recollection, well, now I have two of them. So when Al lost or won a bet, so what was the bet?
The bet was the Packer and the Bears game, and whoever lost, they had to push the other one in a wheelbarrow through, I think, the parade.
Yeah, Fall Festival.
Fall Fest parade, wearing a straw hat.
Yeah. So we have a lot of pictures of that. And then I think you guys reenacted it about, what, 4 years ago with Lars.
And Lars and Belge.
Yeah, and Belge lost.
Well, he had, because he was the Earl, so he had to...
Sorry, it looked like Earl.
And Lars got to ride in the wheelbarrow.
Right.
I kind of wish it was the other way around. Oh, well. That doesn't matter. But and the other thing that we have in common is neither one of us, all of us here, we would not have Packer tickets if it wasn't for my dad and your dad, your grandpa, because they were smart enough to buy tickets. And
because of Weisgerber, who was
Dick
a
Weisgerber,
Packer.
Yep. And they have bought what? How many tickets do they have? We have 3.
We have a total of 4, but it's 2 in the end zone.
Yeah. And then when it's fun to go to the Packer game, because when we can see who's all like, hey, who's down there? Who's going to the game? You know.
But then if it's the Milwaukee game, then we have 4 in a row.
Oh, see, we don't have any for the Milwaukee. Yeah.
I wonder why Grandpa got 2 separate tickets. Maybe he missed the phone call. Where they said,
yeah. We were just joking because we just found out that
it was on Channel 2 that these people, they were like 1,700 on the list. And they got the call, but somehow they missed it, so they didn't get their Packer ticket.
And they were on the list since the 90s.
In the early 90s,
Earl
I think it was.
didn't pick up his phone, and they said, you can have 2 in the end zone, 50 rows up, but you get 2 on the 54 rows up.
Yeah, ticket's a ticket. I'm glad we have some tickets.
It's not on the Packer side, though. It's on the opposing team side. Yeah, it's fine.
We got to give some support on the other side.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're not really here to talk about that so much, but we're, and the other favorite memory, too, of mine was my dad used to come up here and play hearts all the time in the afternoon. My mom always knew he was up here, and I think the only reason my dad stopped coming up here was everybody smoked. Mm-hmm. And he quit smoking when he probably got out of the war or something like that, but he just said he couldn't handle all the cigarette smoke and all the
cigars
smoke.
Too.
Yeah, cigars, cigarettes. I mean, that's when everybody could just smoke inside. I mean, the restaurant had smoking too.
Right.
But I know that he didn't like that. But that had nothing to do with why he didn't want to. He always wanted to come up and play hearts. Mm-hmm. And the joke was always that he had a Thunderbird, and there was a picture of Al's Thunderbird parked outside of your restaurant here in the same spot. And then I think the Pulse put in a paper, was it in the Advocate or the Pulse? But it said some things never change, and it had Al's pickup truck parked in the same spot as his Thunderbird coming to play hearts in the afternoon at the Sister Bay Bowl. So
that picture is in the dining room, as well as the photo of Earl pushing Al. So there's a picture of the old, I think it was after the bowling alley, but long time ago, but you could see his car there.
Yeah, and it'll probably be on this episode too, because our guys always put the good stuff in these little Door County Girl episodes. But anyway, I am not going to talk about too much because I want to hear the history. So I know that you're her mother, and you were working under Earl and Rita for so long, And Earl and Rita lived right next door.
Correct.
Because I always thought it was cool that they had all the bowling balls there in the yard right there. I'm surprised no one ever stole them.
Right.
You
Right.
know, nobody
yes.
ever took those bowling balls, launched them down the hill or
Yeah.
anything.
That's true, because now you can't put a pumpkin out without someone taking
Someone
it.
smashing it or
Right.
taking it or a
Yes.
gnome or anything. Yeah.
The other thing people steal a lot from here is shoes.
Yeah.
And I've met people wearing, they're like, the bowl? These are from the bowl.
Oh yeah, the shoes are the best, and they're
Shoes.
super comfortable.
Yeah.
I actually like them. I wouldn't even mind having a pair just to wear around.
And his head.
They're kind of like saddle shoes.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well I'm gonna let you guys take it away. Tell me the history of the bowl.
Oh,
How did yours
okay.
start? How did your dad? How did you get involved? And how do you own it now?
Well, my father in the mid 40s, early to mid 40s, he went to college to be a chiropractor. And he graduated as a chiropractor.
You know what Rolf calls chiropractors?
What's that?
Witch doctors.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he was
Yeah.
called back
Voodoo
then.
doctors.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that was just Rolf talking.
No, but
Okay.
that's
So,
actually
no.
why the bowl started, is because once he graduated, everyone thought he was a voodoo doctor.
Awesome.
So
I love it.
So he tried to set up shop in Sturgeon Bay, and people didn't believe in it back then. So his father, my grandfather, owned the Sister Bay Hotel, and he owned the Rock. My grandfather built the Rock. So Grandpa said, "You can have."
what is
Your,
what that is?
your grandfather built the rock
Yes.
in Fish
Yes.
Creek.
Yes.
Which is now
Which is-
Alexander.
Yes.
Now Alexander.
So Alexander's and the English Inn was the Rock and the Parkway.
Right.
And that
The
was
beer
the big,
bar was the
yeah,
Parkway.
that was the big hangout back in those days. We were young. I was a youngster, but you probably hung
No,
out.
my sister Sharon and brother Gary went
Yeah,
there.
because
but
I've seen
I-
pictures when that was like the place to be.
Correct.
You could just imagine now it's so no one would ever drive to the middle of
No.
between two towns. I mean, I guess
No.
the AC tap, but like to go late night bar hopping.
And they'd walk back and forth from one to the other right on the
Down the
highway
highway,
there.
yeah.
Yes.
I know, my God.
Yes.
Okay,
But
so
also Earl, he grew up. He went to Gibraltar, and they lived above the Rock. So his dad was a retired school teacher, and he lived upstairs,
I
and
didn't
they had
know
the Rock,
that.
and then
See?
they had a little bar outside called the Pebble. And to clarify, this was the Sister Bay Hotel.
there
for
was a
people
little
listening.
bar outside called the Pebble. Oh my God, that's so cool.
And then this was, and when Earl and Rita took it over, it was 13 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms upstairs, which most people don't know. That's
So,
why it was called the
actually,
hotel.
I think I've only been up there once, but I only saw like one room or something.
That's for another episode.
Yeah.
Because it's
oh,
per-
yeah.
per-
Dream
take
would
a-
tour of the upstairs.
Yeah, that's going to take a little cleaning up.
Is it haunted?
No.
No.
Are you sure?
You'd have to ask Michael, and my cousin Michael and Michelle lived up there for a long time, and they had some theories about that, like they could hear people, but I've never really experienced
No.
any.
Well, if you put a shot upstairs in the restaurant, it's gone in the morning
Yeah.
from Uncle Charlie. Yeah. Okay, so
Anyway,
go on.
yeah.
I'm so engrossed here. I didn't
okay,
know that
so-
you had anything to do with the Rock.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I kind of interrupted to explain the buildings, but you were at when he could not be a chiropractor.
Yeah, the second time he graduated was 1947, and so he tried to set up shop in Sturgeon Bay. That didn't work out, and then Mom and Dad met in Egg Harbor. My mom worked at the Alpine all summer long with her sister, morning, noon, and night. They worked 7 days a week for I think it was like 3 summers in a row, and that's where my dad and Mom met.
What did she do at the Alpine?
A waitress.
Oh wow.
And they met uptown. Because we
Yeah.
took Miles Danhausen interviewed my grandma Rita the right before she fell.
The day before she fell
day
at
before
the
she
Alpine.
fell.
Oh wow.
Which was kind of like the beginning of the end. That's when she
Yeah.
started to have some major struggles. But we took her to the Alpine where she worked, and Bill Burchinar was there, and they worked
He's
together.
awesome,
They were
too.
both 92.
Oh my God.
So they met, after all those years, and Bill dated her sister, Millie,
Yeah.
back when they were there.
God,
so
all
they
these
reminisced
connections.
on all that. But they met uptown, meaning like that was another place to go back in the day. Shipwrecked. And what was the building that was torn down? That was
But what was
Lena's Sip and Chat is where they met.
Oh, Lena's Sip and Chat. I've been
Lena's
there
Sip and
many,
Chat.
many
Yes,
times.
yes.
But what was Shipwrecked? It was called what? Casey's. No.
No,
they
that was
came-
up the street.
We used to eat Thanksgiving dinner there all the time,
We
and
did.
I can't think of. I don't know why I can't think of the name.
That's where it's rumored there's like underground tunnels, and there was.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah.
dad and mom used to love going there.
Yes,
He
so
talked
did-
about that a
I
lot.
think that was a young hangout. Like Egg Harbor was one of the hit towns. But when Earl met Rita, according to my grandma's story, he said, "I'm going to marry that girl." But she said that she heard he was a rounder.
Oh my God.
And so
That's what my mom said about my dad.
So she stood him up for their first date.
Oh my God.
But they were
Sounds so
married
familiar.
within like 2 years.
That is hilarious.
They got married in November of 1947.
Well, he probably was a rounder until he met Rita.
Right?
There's
You're a
rumors that
rounder until you meet the right one.
he used to like go through the women's dormitories at school and like run around and just cause chaos. That was
Okay, for those of you that don't know what a rounder is, it's a ladies' man.
Yeah.
That's a rounder.
The old term. The old term.
All these youngsters are going, what's a rounder?
See,
Right,
Grandma in
right.
her interview stayed very like she told me all these stories, but then she was like, "Oh, I'm not going to say that on camera." Like she didn't want to say all the funny stories.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
About, yes, just like when they were young and wild.
Okay, so then they met, and
1950, when he could not make it as a chiropractor, they had 2 kids at the time. Yes, and he said, "Fine, I want to run a bar." And his dad was upset because his son was a doctor. That's what he wanted for him. But he said, "You can start running either the Rock or the Sister Bay Hotel." And he chose the hotel, and they started running it. They leased it for $100 a month starting in 1950.
so who ran the Rock then? You're still his dad?
I don't know. I mean,
Like what happened there?
I suspect so.
So
but I don't really
the dad
know.
stayed there until maybe he sold it or something?
Yeah.
I don't
but
know
then-
what year.
Your dad came here.
Correct.
Okay, and so how did that start?
And this was a dance hall.
Oh yeah,
In
dance
1950,
hall.
this was a dance hall.
I
This is
heard
where you
about
went
that.
after baseball games.
Yeah, there were
Came to
lots
the
of
dance
cool
hall.
dance halls up here. There was Bailey's Harbor had a whole bunch. The yacht club. I can't remember all the names, but they're all crazy names. I just saw a really cool picture online with the Florians when it was all
Yeah.
tikied out in there and
Wow.
looking all
I
great,
still
and everybody
think
went there. So
Florian's is still, I think, the coolest bar in Door
Yeah.
County. I love Florian's bar, and that was totally the vibe back then. Like every town had a dance hall because that was your entertainment, all the time.
there should still be dance halls.
We don't dance the way we used to because
We
we
need
have
to
like
dance some more.
we have so many
Right.
other forms of entertainment that we put
Right.
that last. But that's where movies, bowling, and dancing, I feel like we're like old simple pleasures. Like,
Yeah.
and movies probably being the most,
Yeah.
not everyone had a movie theater, but when you go to old towns, you always see those 3
Mhm.
things.
That was like a luxury to go to a movie and dancing every weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the Birmingham's here at the bowl.
Yeah.
Did you ever
yes.
come to the Birminghams?
Oh yes, I
Wow.
have. It's packed.
Yeah.
And it's fun
that
to
was
see all the
fun.
different age groups.
Right.
Yeah.
Because all of a
right.
sudden, young people like the Birminghams.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at first,
I mean-
it was mostly the older folks coming in.
Yeah, I as a younger,
Yeah.
20-some-year-old,
I remember.
I loved
I've been here a
them. I
couple of
loved them.
those.
A friend
Yeah.
of mine told me that she actually had school dances like almost weekly, and they would dance even like at lunch. And I found that to be like wild. It would never happen today. But you can always tell, like when a couple gets out on the dance floor, how they move together and they dance very comfortably. There's a lot of people in my generation, guys that don't dance
Yeah.
at all, but it just was more a part of life.
Yeah.
And the Birminghams were our house band. The Bowl had a house band
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
played every weekend, and it was packed for that every weekend.
The weekends, 4th of July weekend, Memorial weekend, Labor Day weekend, 3 nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Whatever
New Year's
happened to
Eve.
them? Are they still around?
Well, their kids got older and they were in high school sports, and Spike Birmingham ended up dying of a heart attack.
Oh.
With his grandson was with him in the Rocket gas station, past
The Red
is it called
Rocket?
The Red Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't
I'm pretty
Spike's,
sure that's
so
where-
we had, what was the band that we hired that was Spike's son? Wasn't it Spike's son?
Yeah. Then they played a little bit.
So we had them back a couple times, but
Yeah.
it's
like
never
a
been quite the
reunion
same.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Grandma also said that they had a piano bar, but I feel like that was short-lived. That they had a piano bar in
Yeah,
here
there
for
was
a while.
a piano bar out at Gordon Lodge. There was a piano bar out at the Bailey's Harbor Yacht Club.
Yes.
Probably because that was a trend then.
Yeah.
You know, when
Right.
Frank Sinatra started
Right.
becoming a
Totally.
singer and
Yes.
Sammy Davis, and then they wore piano bars.
Correct.
Yeah.
Somebody once told me that we weren't technically a supper club because supper clubs, by their definition, you always had music and you ordered at the bar and then took your meal in the dining room, which it's an interesting it's very possible that that was how it worked because you stayed out to listen to the entertainment. And I've had a few people say, like, I want to order here and eat in the dining room. And I'm like, well, that really messes up our system because you're switching spots and servers, and I haven't heard a lot. But, I mean, it would be great to have music, but if you think about, like, spatially, we wouldn't give up our dining room to have music, and then you can have music playing that is nice. So it's one of those things that in the summertime with the outdoor spaces, it's really nice, but it's not something we...
Well, if they ever
would do
sell the
inside.
Ace Hardware, we can have a skywalk going back and forth, and then we can have a dance hall over there
Yes,
and bands.
yes.
Oh my
Right,
God, that'd be
right,
hilarious.
right.
We need to bring dancing back.
We have thought about making a cover for this, so
Somebody
we
needs
talked
to open
about
a
it.
dance hall.
Because we'd love to, even on Fall Fest, we had like Zephyr, we had a couple bands here and just moved the ball returns. Because Fall Fest, you don't really want drunk people bowling.
No.
It's not good for anyone. So doing bands, or even if we could put them further on the lanes and we could have people dance, it's something that we always talk about.
Yeah, you need something to cover all that up. It's
Right.
like a fa floor.
Something that,
Yep.
well, it's going to be very expensive and a lot of labor to put in it.
Yeah, like
Take
our
out.
fake thing that we have at the outdoor bar where you press the button and it kind of comes across.
Yeah.
You need that little button.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
So
so
anyway.
go on.
Okay,
So-
so 1950 they start running it, and then Dad decided that the locals needed some more entertainment other than dancing, so he thought he'd put a bowling alley in.
And why a bowling alley? Why did he
well,
think that?
good entertainment.
He just
Something
said that
for-
dancing was out and bowling.
Did
is-
he
is
bowl?
it.
Did he
Yes.
like bowling? Is that
Yes.
why?
Yes.
Okay.
And also at that time, the bar was running. So in the 50s, Rita was the dining room in the back half was living quarters. There was 2 bedrooms.
Yeah, there
Like
was
where-
no dining then.
There was no dining
Yet.
room.
Okay.
But that's not true. The front dining room was a small dining area, and how she started serving any sort of meal was to the Lions Club, which your dad and my grandpa were big members of, and she served the Lions Club only with June Overby. She would cook, and they would both.
I remember June Overby.
June, yep, and they were.
Sure,
That was
Bud's
one of her
wife.
best friends, and they both served. So in the 50s, that's what she was doing and running the hotel upstairs, 13 bedrooms, 3 baths, and Earl was the bar and the dance hall turning into the bowling alley. So
Okay.
57 is when.
But then we started serving dinner June 4th of 1964
Wow.
in the front part of the dining room there.
Okay.
And that's because they were able to buy the house next door,
Yeah.
which is still.
Who owned the house before that then?
think
It was a dentist office.
Oh, it was a dentist
Yes.
office.
That'd be something, yeah, they could look up
Huh.
and see. It was a 4-bedroom house next door. And
Yeah.
now the house you own and this house are the last 2 houses on the entire strip. of
I
Sister
know,
Bay.
people always say that to me. My
Yeah.
nephew Thor always says, "When are you going to sell me that house?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, here's the Zillow listing for it." And he goes, "Well, you wouldn't charge me that for it, would you?" And I said, "Yes, I would."
It's funny
Because it would be so cool to live in downtown Sister Bay because there's only like 3 houses left in Sister Bay.
The boys all think that it should be, because it goes with this business.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they think we should expand. I'm like, with what employees? No, thank you. Not at this
That's
moment.
the hardest part.
But
Yeah.
I like to call it the
Right.
holdout.
Yeah, everybody can come up with great ideas, but then you got to find help to
Right.
do these things.
Right.
You have to have workers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're getting old.
Yeah, make
Not
the
you,
transition.
but I'm getting old, and you're getting old, and we're like, who's gonna take it over?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Exactly.
you're
Yeah.
taking it over.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the house then, and
She wrote the first menu in that June of 64. So at that point, which getting back to the lanes before we skip too far, we had lanes in 57, but not pin setters. So it was manual, meaning human pin setters for 2 years. So these Brunswick pin setters are A's, and they're from 1959. And now most people have what are called A2s, which Mom dragged me to a bowling conference our first year, which I was very upset about because I didn't think we had time to do that. But we ended up meeting a ton of people and whose bowling centers, they correct us because we call it a bowling alley. Proper terminology is a bowling center.
I like bowling alley.
I know, I'm
better.
like, if you saw ours, it's really a bowling alley.
center.
All right.
But
It's
it's
a
a bowling
bubbler.
center.
It's not a drinking fountain.
Right.
But they run their business based on bowling, whereas ours is a supper club with a bar that happens to have a
Okay.
bowling alley. So they are just floored. Their busy time is different than ours. Their league winter, that's where they make all their money. Whereas we are a summer business who does leagues in the winter, but we're literally staying open for locals and leagues. Otherwise it would be more economical to close.
Yeah.
So it's a very different model, but they're fascinated with the above ground ball returns, manual scoring. So that's kind of become our marketing. It's definitely who we are. Our bowling sheets, Earl thought it was a good idea to put the finest in chicken or steak right here at the bowl. Like, I don't know, you choose. Pick one. Like, we're not really sure which is better. Like, not perch, and we've not changed the score sheet because I think it's hilarious. We need to make shirts of that. But he just probably literally, like, I can hear him talking to On Time Printing going, yeah, the finest in chicken or steak right here at the bowl. Like, no thought in it at all. But
Perfect.
So we went to that, met people, we realized our brand and how, authentic it is. And that became a big part of, like, not changing the bowl going forward.
And when you
And
talk
she
about
loved
leagues,
the conference.
I did. We just went to the
Oh, I
bowling
bet you
summit in
did.
Savannah, Georgia. Now then we went on these antique bowling tours and we met a bunch of people. So now we're the bowling nerds that travel around Wisconsin.
That's funny because Lars just sent me a group text saying that he can't go to the Tavern League meeting that's coming up in Madison.
Yeah.
So he wanted one of us to go.
Oh, is
And
that
I'm
the
like,
spring,
yeah,
spring
well,
convention?
It's like February 28th or
Oh,
something.
yeah,
this
okay.
one. Well, they have lots of events, but this one's more like a meeting where they're going to talk about some of the beer places up here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm like the last person that would know what's going on there. And Lars won't be here. Bjorn won't be here. And then Bryn was thinking about doing it, but she should. She's the bar manager. But when you go to these things, these tavern leagues, you learn a
should
lot
go.
about something else.
You
Like,
do.
I mean,
And it's
Sure.
networking.
yeah.
Right now.
And when you go to a bowling conference, you probably learned a bunch of new things.
Well, we're facing issues with our lanes that we don't have any more cuts. We call it sandings, they call it cuts. There's not enough wood to keep running these. And the lane conditions.
What do you mean?
So you have to sand your lanes just like wood floors. And so nails are starting to show, and several people want us to get synthetic lanes, which don't need as much maintenance, but it's a large install cost. So that essentially there wouldn't be wood anymore. They'd be a synthetic replacement. And that's what most houses have.
Is that what you want to do?
I don't want that.
You want to do that?
Mother,
I'm torn.
she's a pleaser.
I'm torn.
Because it's in the long run, there would be no maintenance really.
Well,
with
there
it.
still is maintenance. You still do have to oil them.
But it's not as much as replacing the wood.
Correct.
The real difference is
But the look of the wood is beautiful.
It's not just the look, it's the sound, it's the history.
Right,
It's not
right.
our brand to have something new like that.
Right.
But I want the leagues to continue, so we have to do something. But when we were at this conference, I was actually downstairs working every morning on my building project, on the variants, and this guy, Roger Dulkin, who's literally a world champion bowler who we travel Wisconsin on this little tour with, within 15 minutes, he's like, this company, come over here, Kegel. Paul's having an issue with their lanes. She wants to know all the options for wood. I met 5 people, and now we're in contact, sending them pictures. They're helping us dial in the shot, and finding resources to replace the heads, or back in the day they used to flip the whole lane over and stand on the other side.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
they all said to us, keep these as long as you can. But they gave us options. So it's not like synthetics are off the table, but if we can elongate the life of these lanes, that's my goal, and make them bowlable for recreational bowling, which is by far the biggest part of our bowling business, which bowling is the smallest part of our overall business. But leagues are important to us too because it's our locals. So, but the reason I got on that, tangent about bowling was that these automatic pin setters are from 1959.
So you were thinking to upgrade those?
No.
No, you want to
They
keep them.
should run many more years as long as we
Keep them
up
maintained.
Yes.
And the technology hasn't changed a lot. There's a few parts that have come out and changed, but really they knew what they were doing in 1959 for the most
Okay.
part. So
Well, that's a good.
they're a little finicky, humid days, rainy days.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, a lot of running back there, but I mean it's part of the charm. So.
We're all like, push the button, push
Yeah.
the button, just
Right.
push the button.
And
Does that
where is
mean-
the button?
Yeah, there's a little button in the
Yeah.
front of those in case it's stuck. You
Yep.
just press the
Yep.
button
Reset.
and then
Right.
it just resets
Right.
And
it.
very few people know how to score. bowling at Gibraltar. I mean, gym at Gibraltar included a bowling unit, so we still have those kids
I still
coming.
don't know how to keep track of the score.
Well, like
There's an app
everything,
on your
there's
phone
there's
now.
an app for everything.
Yeah.
So we just so anyway, after 1959, the lanes were in, and he had leagues, like 3 rounds. Bowling was so popular, Earl ran 3 leagues on Fridays alone. And there, if you remember, there was Brunswick benches here. So there was like the curve here, straight, like probably 10 seats or something in the middle, and then a curve on the end. And it was aqua and salmon. There's a place for your shoes, place for your
Yes.
drinks. We had Brunswick scoring tables until I was in high school.
Brunswick, I remember.
They ripped that out. And then here was 2 step-ups, and because the wood on 5 and 6 was replaced, Grandma had tables made out of those lanes, just the I think just
Like the table over there.
like these.
Yeah.
These came from
Yeah.
Fred and Fuzzy's.
These are awesome.
I pulled these from
I'm-
Fred and Fuzzy's when
Good.
they were tearing everything down.
Yeah.
So, we had those, and then those big fiberglass bowl chairs. You
Okay.
remember those? There was 2 rows here, so people
I
would
do
watch
remember
the
those.
leagues. It was a big deal.
What
Leagues
did
were
you do
It
with
was
those?
packed.
Don't ask.
You got rid of them.
I didn't. I was in high school. I
That was
asked
Like
back
our
in
orange salmon
81.
chairs, we will
They-
not get rid of them. We
They
have
threw
them all.
out just
Wow.
about everything.
Ah.
I know it hurts. Just like our Christmas thing, they brought to Scand. It brought a lot to Scand. But anyway, so
If anyone out there has those chairs,
Yes, I would
bet
love
these
them
ladies
back.
would like them
I
back.
would. I'd
Somebody
go buy 'em.
investigate. Where did those chairs go?
fiberglass bowl chairs.
Yeah,
for sure.
everything should come back to
Because-
back to home.
You know what we
again.
did get sent is I don't know if you can see these little, like, I don't know if you could call it a decal, but they're this plastic cap on the side, and it has a bowler, and it's Brunswick. Someone sent us maybe 3 or 4 years ago it in the mail and said I was a young dumb teenager. I'm so
20
sorry I
years
took
ago,
this.
I took this.
Oh my
They
god!
sent it back to us.
That's so cool that you
Yeah.
sent it back.
Yeah.
So we saved the envelope. We just thought that was so funny. Haven't reattached it.
That's
But
so funny. It's like someone stealing a sign and then they feel bad. They send
Right.
it back
Right.
later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in this, before I forget to mention it, 'cause John
was that
mentioned-
Earl's
This
shirt?
is Earl's original bowling shirt.
Sister Babe Ball.
Yep, his
I gotta
linen
love
shirt.
it.
The boys in my family are too big for it. So.
Do you always wear that?
I just started. It's hard because I don't want to
You don't
I
wanna
don't
ruin
wear
it.
it a lot. No, I brought it to the conference, and we're trying to get some made that are linen-ish. Because most bowling shirts you get are really stiff.
You should frame that
Yeah.
somehow. But
So-
you have to cut that.
Yeah.
You know, because you want the back to show
Yeah.
up. But you should put it in a beautiful frame.
Yeah. So we try to keep that history alive, but
How did you get it?
Grandma. I spent a lot of time here because growing up, Mom is the only family member that didn't live within 1 minute of the bowl.
Okay.
Because my dad's side of the family with Anschutz Plumbing, they all live within 2 minutes of their business, Anschutz Plumbing, and the lake house they grew up on in Kingery Lake. So when I was here, when I was younger, I had to choose to come up here, and I was here all day till Mom closed the bar. I'd stay next door at Grandma's house, and I'd go see my cousins and whatnot, and we'd be here all during the day a lot of times. But I spent an extended amount of time just because of where we lived.
Okay.
And then once I started running the bowl, I was just really fascinated in how many things that I did that were similar to my grandma without, just watching her cook and how we cook, and I don't know, just her interest in old things and history and the things she kept. She was a Depression era teenager, so she didn't like to throw things out. And she was very frugal about stuff, even when she had money.
Yeah, my mom's the same way. She never throws anything out.
She
She
would
saves
to-
all the aluminum foil, all
Yes.
the wrapping paper,
Yes.
all the cards you send her. My mom,
Yes.
she cuts off where you write and she saves them all and reuses them. Oh yeah.
I mean, like in the kitchen, scraping out
Oh
all
my
that
God, everything.
mayonnaise,
Oh yeah.
all the
ingrained in
salad
me.
dressings.
My
scrape
waitresses
it
are
all
probably
out.
like, Paula, seriously? I'm like, you didn't scrape that. Like, scrape that, you get 2 extra things of dressing out of it. It's just so
Right.
how Rita operated. Like, even in her older age, and she's like deboning chicken, it was like a
You don't even
painstaking
realize you're
process.
learning because you're watching her
Yes.
and then you remember.
Right.
So that's
Yes, and just it was like everything I go through now. I'm like, God, I wish I would have asked her about that story,
Right.
but I spent a lot of time going through pictures, taping her, and just really interested. Like I have the pants that are linen and they're blue that go with this.
Oh,
well, he wore it
nice.
with a suit too, but I was just one of the kids that was always interested in the throwback stuff. Still am.
Yeah.
So, just spent a
Good
lot of
thing you
time doing that.
worked. You saved some good stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I was, like I said, when those chairs were getting thrown out, I was in high school, and I was like, "Can you save it for my first apartment?" They're like, "No, Paula, we are not saving."
Did
this
they
stuff."
sell them or did they just throw them in the dump?
I have
think-
a feeling they
I
just.
think
threw
they
them.
just threw them.
I can't say actually exactly what
Yikes.
happened, but I'm pretty sure. I know that the Christmas
I'm
setup.
pretty sure there was a big truck out there.
They just got rid of it.
Do you remember our stage with the whole Christmas setup and everything
over on the
moved?
left.
And the
Underneath the
candy
TV.
cane thing where
Yeah.
they donated that to Scammed.
Oh wow.
But that's another one that we all wish we had back. Because
Yeah.
there wasn't, the thing
Yeah, all
wasn't
you
to
people,
save.
you got to take notes here because they want that back too.
Quick plug. Yeah, we want that back.
Yeah.
If anybody stole all the signs from the Fred and Fuzzy cottages I moved, I'd like those back too.
Yeah,
While we're talking about
bring 'em
that, just the
back.
numbers.
Come
They'll go right
on.
back on the cottages.
She'll do the right thing with
any-
them. She won't ask any questions.
I won't.
She just
Just
wants
drop
the
them at
sign
the
back.
front door, and I
Yeah.
just want to put
Oh
them
my
back on the
God,
cottages
yes.
and the mailbox. Anyway.
Okay,
so,
well, I was going to ask you, going back a little bit, now you were here at the Bowl, and then there were still the hotel rooms up there. Now, how long did those go on for?
1964, when Mom put the dining room in, she thought, I can't run the hotel and do the dining room. So they discontinued the rooms in 1964.
And then what did you do with the rooms upstairs?
They're still all up. Well,
mostly
actually,
storage.
right. Michael, my nephew, I'm going to say about 16, 17 years ago, took that half and he made a 2-bedroom apartment.
Very cool.
So Michael and Michelle lived up there for about 8 years, and then they moved out, and now my brother Steve lives up there.
Oh.
he has the best apartment.
And nobody lives in the
Sister Ray.
house?
Sharon in the summer, and we have employees in there too.
Okay,
now.
well, that's smart.
Yeah.
So Sharon thought, well, maybe Steve would want to live up. He lived
Oh,
next
yeah,
door
it's
with
the
Mom.
best view in town up there.
did.
But
So
he's
cute.
a creature of habit.
Yeah.
So Sharon didn't think he'd want to move up there. But when Sharon asked him, he said, I've wanted to live up there for 40 years.
Okay, yeah, and a lot of you don't know Steve. Steve is Barney Willems, and the person you always see running and taking a dip in the wintertime, swimming across the street in the marina. The guy you see that always doesn't have a shirt on when it's freezing cold out. That's your brother.
And he
Yes.
waves to you.
Yes.
Yeah, and so how many siblings did you have?
3. 2 boys and a girl.
And they are,
Gary, Sharon, and Steve.
and then you. Are you the baby?
I am the baby.
You are the baby. And Sharon worked here forever and ever as a hostess
And
ran
still
the
does
dining
in
room.
the summer.
Yeah. She said she picks up even shifts at the boathouse on and
Yes.
off.
Yes.
So then Sharon had children, and then she had a set of twins, Michelle and Mike. And Mike now runs the Boathouse restaurant down the way. And Michelle was my son's teacher up to Gibraltar.
Sure.
And Jason, we just did an interview with Jason about the Peninsula
Yes.
State Park golf cars.
Yes.
So all these families have other things going on. See how everybody's
But they all
intertwined?
3 have worked here.
Yeah, they
Yes.
all 3 have worked here.
And then Ray runs, well, so Lucas and Ray are Belgie's 2 kids.
Yep.
And right now, Lucas is the only grandkid that doesn't live in Door County.
Really?
When he's in Chicago and comes up often.
Well, where does
And
Ray live?
She lives in Ephraim and works at Bay Breeze. She runs that for Debbie and Gary Krause. Has been there many, many years.
Okay.
I used to live with her over there in Ephraim, and yeah, very happy there.
I didn't know she was living here year round.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's
so
here
you
year
learn
round.
something new every day.
She's one of their main gals, or maybe is their main gal.
Well, you know, we have had so much fun talking, and there's so much more to talk about. So we are going to have another episode that will have a little bit more with Penny and Paula about the Sister Bay Bowl. So don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom of the page, and you can check out some more episodes of Door County Girl. And please come visit the bowl. Everybody here is friendly. We've had a lot of their staff work for us and come back up here. And birthday parties, employee parties, bowling's for everyone. Thanks. See you next time. Thanks for watching Door County Girl. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time.